Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is April 13th, 2026. And I want to talk today about the importance of past lives. Since there's 144,000 different parts of ourselves we must get acquainted with in order to understand the whole self. And each experience will deal with one of those, or maybe more. So how long it takes, how many lifetimes it takes to complete this wholeness? Jesus did it in probably quicker than the rest of us will, but he showed us how. That was his purpose, is showing us how to do this as well. And he said it, you'll do better than me. I'm just here for a little while. Anyway, past lives, it is the learning from our experiences is stored each lifetime in our own soul, because that's the essence of who we are. The soul was created from the superconscious mind, the spirit, so to speak, that level of mind. So now, when I first started studying at the School of Metaphysics, and I didn't know that that's where I needed to be, but I did exactly what Jesus said to do. I asked. I had questions that church and school did not answer or did not even approach. So the way I found the School of Metaphysics, I said, okay, I know that there's a system available that will help me understand how all this works, and maybe a way to get a handle on some of it. And I said, I don't care where it is, I don't care what you call it, I want it. But in retrospect, what I said next is what caused it to come to me. I said, I will have it. So the School of Metaphysics answered all the questions that I had, plus showed me how to answer any other questions. And all of the questions are answered through your own soul, your subconscious mind. You are an extension of the soul. When you chose a physical body to get into, a part of the procedure is you pretty much forget, when you start off with a new conscious mind, you pretty much forget everything else. And this is by design. And there are exceptions to this, but by design, if we could remember everything at that point, it would be a little much to handle. So it's set up to where we take it in steps. Once you take the first step, you begin to see the next. That's the way it works. Nobody can tell you how to do it all in a flash. Not possible. Or not that I know of. Because that would indicate magic, and I don't see that there's any such thing as magic, because everything can be explained. Now, everything can't be explained for me for where I am, but I have to grow into a place to understand the question, or understand the answer to the question. So my job comes in to being open and listening within, hearing my soul talk. And the soul talks in pictures. Conscious mind speaks in words. And this is why most people don't understand the scriptures, is because they're at the low level of thinking where they are. They're trying to make sense out of just the words. This is not possible. The scriptures were written in the universal language of mind, which means it's the picture language. So the picture is the essence of the writing. It's the essence of what Jesus was teaching. And since most people didn't know how to get pictures, he spoke in parables so they would have a way to get something. In this way they could get what they were ready to receive. And for where I am, I fully realize that for what I want to accomplish, I need to be in that place of receptivity where I can receive what it is that I say I want. I have to be ready for it. And that takes work. Religion says, no, you don't have to work. I couldn't buy that. I didn't buy that. But I appreciate past lives and so forth. And just briefly, my experience at School of Metaphysics at Lesson 8, which is within the first few months, everybody gets a past life reading. And at the time, I'm thinking, I don't really care about that. But I'll play along and I just won't be upset. I'll just, because many times I'll go along just listen to what somebody else will say and not really attached to what it may be about. So just, I'll let it go to start with. That's what I do. But the readings were done. And of course the school, being a school, only charged us for the cassette tape that it went on. I think it was $3. And the reading was free. It was part of the class. And when the readings came back, the cassette tapes, now the readings were done in Wendyville, Missouri at the college property. And I was in Nashville, it's 500 miles away. But see, there's no distance between minds. I know that now. And for people, they train people to know how to do these readings, to read the Akashic Records. And that's where all of the past lives are stored, and that's where everything is stored, actually. Every thought and action for all time is stored in the Akashic Records. And I won't belabor what the Akashic Records is, but it's the library. I think it's what was referred to in the Bible as the Book of Life. I think it's the deeper meaning of that. Okay. Now, a teacher played our readings one at a time during class. And of course, most of the other classmates, probably like me, they don't remember everybody else's, they'll remember theirs. And when I heard mine, I said, well, I guess I'm going to have to pay attention to this because this is some real stuff. It pointed out a couple of things that I hadn't whispered out loud to anybody. There's no way they could have known. So I had to give up the idea that they was making up some stuff. That just wasn't happening. And I saw that very clearly later on when I attended the first time I saw the readings being done at my school and actually watched the process and saw that in between sessions they weren't taking notes and making up stuff. They were just relaxing, getting ready for the next go round, replenishing their energy. So I began to pay attention. So past lives became very meaningful to me in stages along, and I'm still discovering things. And during my time at the school and even after I was through studying, I got some readings done. So I've had a total of, I had a family reading done while I was still in school. And I've had a total of 8 past life readings. Some of those were past life crossings to see where me and another individual were together before. And had I known this was the case before I got married, I might have made a different choice if I had that information to use, because Me and the lady I married, we stayed married 21 years, but we had had past lives together, and so that comes into play. It really does. And when two people think it's just magic because they just met, it was God's plan. No, it's nothing more than familiarity. And if I'd known that, I would have had a different perspective on choosing a mate. And now, I would not start another serious relationship without getting a past life crossing. And I suggest anyone else to do the same. You can get a past life crossing at the School of Metaphysics, som.org. Go to the menu and then scroll down to intuitive reports and check on that, and it'll give you the different kind of readings. Or there's some people who had been trained at the school that are in a Dallas area somewhere, and they've started their own business doing these readings, different sorts of readings, and they call themselves Akashic Resources. So you may check that. And they've put some talks online that are pretty interesting. They even have a reading they call Question to the Universe, which is a good thing. But anyway, I've had a total of 8 past life readings, and I've had a bunch of health readings. Health reading will give you the mental, emotional, and physical condition at the time, and they're valuable because you can see, beyond the reading, what you're in the process of setting up. And each disease is created by each person. It's not some evil thing that comes from somewhere else. Everything that happens to you comes from you. Now, where past lives importance comes into play, really big time, is that, let's say a couple is having some trouble and they can't figure out how they're having trouble, because it may not be what's happening now so much that caused the problem, is that it's something they brought with them from knowing each other before that was unresolved. And so if you're thinking about hooking up with somebody, get a past life crossing first, so that you can address these things that are brought forward that otherwise you wouldn't know about. So these past lives can be very important. And when I mentioned past life to somebody just the other day, I don't want to hear that because I don't believe in past lives. Just one time. Well, that's just where the person is, and a lot of people are still there. This ignoring or got it blocked out, even the possibility of knowing who they are, where they came from, and where they're going, or where they are in the process of getting there. So past life information. Now, to be able to see past lives on your own, I was told at School of Metaphysics, and I went to lesson 33, which is a ways into the advanced series. It was far enough to get what I needed for this lifetime. But if I'd have stayed, Jerry Rothermel told me, I made a comment one time, he was the one that started everything, was the original teacher at the school. And he pioneered the readings. And I asked him if he had, I'd heard somebody make the comment that he could read the Akashic records consciously. And so I asked him about that, and he said, yeah. He said, you will too when you get to about lesson 60. Well, see, that was a long way away from where I was. But I don't have any doubt about that. But I know I was around people who were at the doctorate level. And it's an amazing experience. I won't give you the detail, but now a doctor, if you're serious about your learning and progressing at a pretty good rate, then a doctor may choose to show you something special. I had that experience on a number of occasions. So, people who judge the school of metaphysics without knowing the first thing about it are really cheating themselves. Now, the school of metaphysics may not be the only place a person can go, but it was the place my soul connected me with. And so that makes it important to me, very important. And I recommend the school to, or books that I use. I recommend the school, the Dream Program, and reading of the Universal Peace Covenant. I do these things every day. I'll mention it to somebody because it would be beneficial to anybody to hear these things. Now, whether they're ready to hear them or not, I can't do anything about that. A person has to have questions first, and one of my talks I did was on the question, because it's vitally important. And equally important, I'm finding out, is our experiences from previous lifetimes. And just in the last few years, I've been able to pull forward some things that I didn't learn this lifetime. I learned them previous lifetime. One of those things has to do with healing, touch, and massage. I hadn't had any instruction on massage this lifetime, but I can sense where energy has ceased to flow and stimulate it to get going again. Now, this is a temporary fix, but if that lack of flow of energy is left unchecked, it begins to solidify and it becomes cysts, tumors, and so forth. It's not accidental. It's caused from ignoring what is occurring. And ignoring causes the ignorance that most people experience. So I would suggest to anybody that's serious about wanting to understand themselves, wanting to understand how things work, to get a past life reading. My experience showed me that each time I got a past life reading, even though it would be about seemingly different things, it would always address where I was right now in my own growth. And your own soul chooses which lifetime to show. It's your soul that gives you a way to have the answers, not rocket science. Because before you've checked into this physical body, you were existing as a soul. And I think that in this space, when we're existing as a soul, I think we can see everything. Because at the end, when I withdraw from this physical body, when I withdraw my attention from this physical body, then we'll go through an assimilation process to glean all of the understandings from this lifetime, and those are stored in the soul. They'll be there forever. Now, each lifetime you start over with a new conscious mind, so you don't remember them. So you have to wake up each lifetime. And the only exception to that is if you chose two parents who are pretty much awake, then they know better than to watch you sleep through what is. There is so much It would blow your mind if you knew how much you actually knew that you don't have access to. It would blow your mind. And it's not blowing my mind, it's impressing me when I'm able to pull some things forward. And I won't go through a list of things, but I appreciate those things that I put in the energy to learn in a previous lifetime that are available to me now. Available to me now. And the School of Metaphysics teaches you how to be open to receive this. And I appreciate the school every day. And I tell people every day. Pay attention to past lives. That information is critical to your progression forward. But you have to be ready. So it comes to you when you are ready. Because the subconscious mind, which houses all of this information, does not force it on you. Your subconscious mind is what recreates from your gathered pictures, your correlation of thoughts into a solid picture. You give that to the soul, the subconscious mind, and it reproduces that and causes it to become physical. Now, if you ignore what you're creating, it still gets created. Because your subconscious mind, which recreates it, it's not in the business of judging you. It simply says, you want it, you got it. So this is how what you think becomes your life. That's the design. But religion would have you believe you have nothing to do with it. And so, thinking you have nothing to do with it, you don't look, and you remain ignorant by choice. Now, the choice may be unconscious. You're not aware of this choice. Subconscious mind, it don't matter. It hears your request, whether it's conscious or unconscious. You make better progression if you're deliberate and conscious about what you're presenting to your own soul that recreates it. This is called responsibility. Responding to your abilities, responding with your abilities, and developing more ability to respond. And so you begin responding rather than reacting. Investigate past lives. Learn to appreciate, as I have, the importance of past life. I'm Winston Cunningham. Thank you for listening.